So I managed to capture one of those one-on-one interviews with Poilievre on the radio. It's always good to hear directly from him about things like, well, about what Carney was saying about steel, rather than hear it secondhand on X or on Twitter or anywhere else, other than actually from his own mouth, live over the radio on a phone. So yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, first of all, he was asked about what Carney was saying.
Let's be clear. Canada will be one of the countries most impacted by these developments. It's because we are highly exposed to this fundamental restructuring that's happening in the global steel industry. And we will also implement additional tariffs on steel imports from all non-US countries containing steel melted and poured in China. Our existing arrangements with our CUSMA partners will remain the same, including no changes to our current trade measures with the United States.
So first of all, he was asked, what would he have said to those steel workers in Hamilton when he was giving that speech he gave on Wednesday?
And what I said is, I'm getting rid of the industrial carbon tax. You'll note that under pressure from the Conservatives, the Liberals finally suspended their consumer carbon tax, but they did not take it off heavy industry. So our steel mills are paying this enormous tax that could amount to $500 million a year for a mill in Hamilton by the end of this decade, which is not long from now, and could provoke more and more steel jobs to go south where there is no such tax. There is no such tax going to be implied in Europe either. They're actually exempting their industry from carbon taxes. And so we're going to be alone paying a carbon tax that Mr. Carney and the Liberals are imposing on our steel makers, which is not only going to kill steel jobs, but drive up the cost of everything made with steel, which includes automobiles, apartment complexes, as if housing wasn't already expensive enough, office buildings, you name it, steel is in it. And I would have got rid of that tax to actually allow us to compete on the world stage. Secondly, I think Mr. Carney needs to explain his many contradictions. He said he was going to do dollar-for-dollar retaliation against the Americans. He backed down on that. He said it would be elbows up. It's been elbows down. He said that he was not going to accept any American tariffs on our industry, that he'd get us a deal without tariffs. And now yesterday he said that he's going to be willing to sign an agreement that keeps American tariffs on Canadian industry. So he is backing down very, very quickly in the face of President Trump. And I think a lot of the workers on the line there in the steel mill would have had some questions about what happened to the Mark Carney that campaigned on standing up for Canada.
So then he was asked, have you had any conversations with Mark Carney about these tariffs and about what the US are doing to Canada? And also, have you been down to America at all? Have you talked to anybody and discussed anything about the tariffs with them?
So the first question was with Mr. Carney. Yes, I told him every time we spoke, and I said, any help you need, anything I can do, don't hesitate. We're in this for Canada first. I'm happy to call anyone you think I should call. He politely thanked me, but has not asked for any help. So he's a kind of a one-man show on this, and but as badly as it's going, we are here to put Canada first and help any way we can. I have spoken to Pete Sessions, congressman from Texas, just outside of Dallas, and he is a very pro-Canada member of Congress, and he has said that he wants to see the trade relationship restored. And I'm going to be reaching out to other legislators and lawmakers to encourage them to get an end to these trade impasses so that we can bring back free trade across our borders, tariffs down, security and national defense up. That's what will be good for both countries.
So then he was asked, if they get back to Parliament and then they've made a deal with Trump and we've still got tariffs on not only steel, but we got tariffs on farmers and grain and really everything that Canada sends to America. Are you okay with that? Is that something that you'll back the Liberals with?
Well, we have to see what they're trying to get through before I can answer that. But I don't think it is acceptable to have tariffs. We had tariff-free access largely to the American market for decades. And now all of a sudden there are tariffs on our softwood lumber, our autos, our steel, our aluminum, and numerous other products that we should be selling tariff-free to the Americans. And the Prime Minister said he was going to get these tariffs lifted through his brilliant negotiating techniques, and enough Canadians believed him. So he now needs to deliver on the promises he made. And I'm not the one. I'm not the one I'm not the one that put him up to those expectations. He is. He's the one who said he would get a good deal. He's the one who said he'd do dollar for dollar retaliation, and he is the one that seems to be doing exactly the opposite now.
So then he was asked, "Are you against retaliatory?" And she said the word retaliation tariffs to them, or exactly where would you go from there? How would you deal with it?
Well, I didn't say I was against retaliatory tariffs. I thought you meant tariffs by the Americans, whether they were acceptable. I think they need to be narrowly targeted to things we don't need, can make ourselves, or buy elsewhere, so that we maximize the impact on the Americans and minimize the impact on ourselves. We don't want to harm our own businesses and customers with tariffs that will raise their input costs. Like, you talk to farmers, they are paying indirectly Canadian tariffs on American farm equipment, and then they're put at a disadvantage in producing food to compete with their American farming counterparts. So those are the types of things we have to be very surgical about. Let's pinpoint target things we don't need in Canada, or that we can make ourselves source elsewhere. So really, we have alternatives, and we strengthen our side of the border while deterring American protectionism.
I thought that was a pretty interesting conversation with him. There's a little bit more on that we'll cover it in another day. But he brought up one of the best points that you could want on this, and that is, why are we tariffing our own steel? Why are we doing that? We have put a carbon tax on our own steel. On our own steel workers. Yet we still have steel workers stood behind Carney thinking, yeah, he's going to do the best for us. He's going to do the best for the steel industry. We've got Anita and Anne, and we've got Jolly and everyone, and Champagne all saying, yeah, we're working for Canadians. But they got rid of the carbon tax on the just on the gas for regular people, but the industrial carbon tax, to keep that on, to keep pushing that onto the steel workers, that's criminal. That's criminal doing that. You can't do that to the steel workers. You can't push a homegrown tariff on them and then expect them to pay a tariff to the United States at the same time. That is absolutely ridiculous. And that should be taken off straight away. It should have been taken off months ago. Anyway, see you on the next one.